Hi, it's Bob Costas. I'm in the Major League Baseball Network's Studio 42, named obviously in honor of Jackie Robinson. And as we welcome you to the New York State Baseball Hall of Fame, it includes Hall of Famers you'll find in Cooperstown, like Jackie Robinson and others. But beyond that, and that's what distinguishes this museum, you don't have to be in Cooperstown to be a New York State Baseball Hall of Famer. They'll make the case here for people like Keith Hernandez and Don Mattingly and Thurman Munson, who might deserve to be in Cooperstown, but in the meantime, they're represented right here. And so, too, are members of beloved teams, Ed Kranepool and Ron Swoboda and Bobby Mercer, and going all the way back to Ralph Branca and Carl Erskine and others. Broadcasters like the great Vin Scully and others are represented. Women are represented, like the umpire Perry Barber. Front office types, great characters like the Mets' Jay Horowitz. And you don't even have to have played or been associated with the Giants, the Dodgers, the Mets, or the Yankees. But what if you grew up in New York and you had New York roots like Joe Altobelli, Andy Van Slyke, and Carl Yastrzemski? It's inclusive, it's a little bit quirky, and it's all good. Welcome to the New York State Baseball Hall of Fame.
Well, Babe Ruth was a phenomenon of the 1920s when America seemed young and carefree and exuberant. And we eagerly idolized a grown man because he could blast a leather-covered ball over an outfield fence. As for the Babe himself, off the field and on, he was big and carefree and uncomplicated, tailor-made for the time he lived in.
When it was discovered that the 1919 White Sox had thrown the World Series, baseball reached its lowest point in history.
Baseball needs a savior, and he's standing there to save baseball.
Babe Ruth made people love him. His wide grin and happy-go-lucky personality were irresistible. He was a roly-poly man who did everything in a big way, whether it was hitting home runs or having a night on the town. He loved kids. He delighted in being their hero, and they worshipped the Babe. To shake his huge hand, to hear him say, "Hiya, kid," was a precious moment. There has never been an idol quite like him. Babe Ruth, the kid from Baltimore.
In 1914, the Boston Red Sox buy Babe Ruth's contract for $3,000. Only 2 years later, at the age of 21, he establishes an incredible World Series pitching record of 29 consecutive scoreless innings. He becomes one of the great pitching stars of his time.
Babe Ruth was a hero of the 1916 World Series and a hero of the 1918 World Series. He was 21 years old in 1916, and he was a pitcher.
He was the best left-handed pitcher in the American League. He would have been a Hall of Fame pitcher had he never hit a home run.
In the 4 years that he was a pitcher, he won more games and had a lower earned run average than any pitcher in the American League except Walter Johnson, and he beat Johnson repeatedly in 1-0 games.
In 6 seasons with Boston, Ruth won 89 games and posted a 2.19 ERA. In 1918, he also began hitting homers at an impressive rate, tying for the league lead with 11. This double talent of hitting and pitching posed a dilemma for the Red Sox manager.
Ed Barrow, who later became the Yankee general manager, resisted making him a hitter because he said, "They'll string me up alive if I take the greatest pitcher in the American League and make him an outfielder."
Because he was a pitcher, when he tried to hit home runs with more or less every swing, they didn't coach it out of him the way they would have had he been a young hitter.
Ruth, the pitcher, only appeared in 17 games in 1919, winning 9. But his 29 homers caught the collective eye of the Yankee brass.
Harry Frazee, the owner of the Red Sox, was in some financial pickle and needed money. And he started casting around looking for money. And suddenly, down in New York, they came up with the cash and said, "We'll give you the money if you'll give us Babe Ruth." The money was there, and he grabbed the money and sent the Babe south. I don't think Boston has recovered ever since.
In the spring of 1920, Babe slipped into a Yankees uniform just as a seminal decade in American history began. Neither the country nor the game would ever be the same.
The Yankees discover Babe Ruth is worth every penny. For not only can he pitch, he's astonishing at bat. He's been switched to the outfield now so he can play every day. And his batting power amazes the baseball world. When he sets a new record with 29 home runs, most people say it can never be topped. But in his first year as a Yankee, Babe hits an unbelievable 54 home runs. The next year, he does even better. His total soars to 59. He's turned the record books upside down. He joins the ranks of players like the great Ty Cobb, Rogers Hornsby, Clyde Traynor, Grover Cleveland Alexander, Walter Johnson, the combination of Tinker to Evers to Chance, and a new Yankee teammate named Lou Gehrig. Babe Ruth is now a national figure. He overshadows the Yankees and most of baseball. More trophies for the Babe, more awards, more adulation, and more money. He's king of baseball, crowned the Sultan of SWAT. He shakes hands with presidents, but he's more at ease with kids. From the beginning, it's obvious that they are his favorite audience. He hits baseballs for them off a rooftop. It's good publicity, and if you're Babe Ruth, it's great fun. Catching a ball dropped from an airplane is a challenge he can't pass up, even if it means risking a fractured skull. Barnstorming, touring the country in the off-season, gives the nation a chance to see Babe Ruth in person. On his tours with his pal Lou Gehrig, it's anything for a laugh. Babe is a perfect hero for the Roaring '20s. This is the house that Ruth built, Yankee Stadium. If he wasn't box office at the movies, he surely was at the ballpark. The new stadium is made possible by the great drawing power of Babe's name. He's the biggest single attraction in sports, bringing in more paid admissions than any other man in baseball history. The people come to see the Yankees, and Babe Ruth is the Yankee. 1927 is another season for the record books. For the past 5 years, Babe has been unable to come near his own record of 59 home runs. The fans are beginning to wonder if he's past his prime. But as the season goes by, Ruth gives them his answer. The total slowly mounts, and late in the season, Ruth finally equals his old mark. 59 homers. Now the pressure is really on. Can he break his own record? By the last week of September, time has almost run out. Only a handful of chances are left. On September 27, 1927, the Yankees are playing the Washington Senators. Yankee Stadium is filled with thousands of fans hoping to see history made. In the first inning, the Babe hits a ground ball to the infield, and he's out at first base. In the fourth inning, he gets a hit, but it's only a single. In the sixth, Babe singles again. Finally, the eighth inning. The string has almost run out. The game is nearly over. Tom Zachary is the Washington pitcher. The score is tied. There's a man on third and one out. This is the moment. A home run into the right field bleacher. Home runs in one season. Babe Ruth has set the greatest record in baseball history.
Babe was a metaphor for the big, broadening shoulders of America. Ruth himself once said, "I like to live as big as I can." In an era when our country was burgeoning with power, no one hit the ball farther and louder than Babe Ruth.
Little boy in a baseball hat stands in the field with his ball and bat. Says, "I am the greatest player of them all." Puts his bat on his shoulder and he tosses up his ball. And the ball goes up and the ball comes down. Swings his bat all the way around. The world's so still you can hear the sound. The baseball falls to the ground. Now the little boy doesn't say a word, picks up his ball, he is undeterred. Says, "I am the greatest there has ever been." And he grits his teeth and he tries it again. And the ball goes up and the ball comes down. Swings his bat all the way around. The world's so still you can hear the sound. The baseball falls to the ground. He makes no excuses, he shows no fear. He just closes his eyes and listens to the cheers. Little boy, he adjusts his hat, picks up his ball, stares at his bat. Says, "I am the greatest, the game is on the line." And he gives his all one last time. And the ball goes up like the moon so bright. Swings his bat with all his might. And the world's as still can be. And the baseball falls. And that's strike three. Now it's supper time and his mama calls. Little boy starts home with his bat and ball. Says, "I am the greatest, that is a fact. But even I didn't know I could pitch like that." Says, "I am the greatest, that is understood. But even I didn't know I could pitch that good."
Ace of clubbers, king of clout. On every diamond he jacked them out. He was the big Bambino, the Sultan of SWAT. Hercules in pinstripes, with the biggest bat and the biggest heart. He was Babe Ruth, the king of them all. Babe Ruth, the name says it all.
walked up to the plate. He's pointing. Here comes the ball. He's swinging big. It's a long one. The Babe hit another one.
Babe Ruth lived in a time in a world so far away. He still lives in the hearts of all those who remember that back in the day. Yeah, he could whack 'em and smack 'em and jack 'em like no one before. He lived big and swung big. Yeah, he was king of them all. Babe Ruth, king of them all. Babe Ruth, with a name says it all. Babe Ruth, king of them all. Babe Ruth, with a name says it all. It was another time, another world, and won't be back again. But if Babe were here, he'd make us smile and rock the world again. Babe Ruth, king of them all. Babe Ruth, with a name says it all. Babe Ruth, he was the king of them all. Babe Ruth, with a name says it all. Babe Ruth, he was the king of them all. Babe Ruth, you know the name says it all. Babe Ruth.
George Herman Ruth, all-time baller.